Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from MRC Newsbusters, America's media watchdog, dated June 13th, and in a surprise to probably nobody, you remember the LA riots going on? Of course you remember, because it just happened like a week or two ago, and probably as I'm, not as I'm recording this, but as you're listening to this, probably still going on. But you wouldn't be surprised to know that all the mainstream news networks are calling them peaceful when, there's stuff burning everywhere, people getting beaten up. But yeah, that's what they think peaceful is. So it's a study. CNN, MSNBC overwhelmingly call riots peaceful as LA burns. And again, shouldn't really be much of a surprise to you. Article starts with, left-wing cable networks CNN and MSNBC have spent the past week serving as public relations officials for the anti-ICE riots in Los Angeles, California. Both networks have almost exclusively described the turmoil as peaceful, while taking great pains to downplay or outright dismiss the chaos and violence. MRC analysts looked at all coverage on CNN and MSNBC from June 7th through June 11th that aired between 5 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, finding 211 instances in which anchors, guests, or reporters described the riots in LA as peaceful, or some permutation thereof. Details will be below. Says CNN was responsible for 123 such utterances, while MSNBC aired the remaining 88. I figured it would be the other way around because CNN at least has actual Republicans on it, whereas MSNBC just has people with R's next to their name that don't actually believe anything Republicans really believe. So I'm kind of surprised at that, but let's keep going. It says, over the weekend of June 7th, both networks invited on a cavalcade of Democratic officials from California, offering them a free platform to allege that the unfolding riots were mostly peaceful. And I should mention too, and I'm sure everyone's thinking this is, everyone remember 2020 and what happened when there was a guy from CNN out there, but standing in front of burning buildings saying it was mostly peaceful. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what you're getting here too. It says by Sunday, June 8th, many of the journalists themselves had begun repeating those same claims, even as images of looted stores and torched cars appeared on screen. So just a replay of 2020. His reporters attempted to justify their claims by arbitrarily separating the peaceful and violent members of the same crowd. The rioters were framed exclusively as rogue actors or lone wolves. Yeah, lone wolves mean it's just one person in one area. It's not a whole bunch of people doing the same thing. I remember seeing that and I was just that's not what a lone wolf is there, guys. So I'm starting that sentence back over again. It says, so the rioters were framed exclusively as rogue actors or lone wolves, and there was never any suggestion that they might share a common cause with the nonviolent individuals accompanying them. And here's some quotes here. It says, there are agitators, of course, in every crowd, but most of the crowds that I spoke to, these are peaceful people. That's from MSNBC's Steve Patterson on Sunday, June 8th. Then Brian Stelter, because of course he has to get involved, says the intention, it seems, is to lump in violent rioters with and peaceful protesters, and that was on Monday, June 9th. And then another CNN one says there were some incidents of violence. There were specific individuals involved in that, by and large, peaceful protest, and that's from Aaron Burnett on Wednesday, June 11th. And I don't think anybody would actually agree with them that, actually saw what was going on, because either these folks are propagandists or they're lying to you. Pick one, because it's only those two. It says, conversely, there was also no instance in which a reporter on either network acknowledged that the National Guard and Marines had been mobilized exclusively to address the violent elements of the crowd. There were numerous complaints about the use of military force against peaceful protesters, but nobody bothered to suggest that perhaps that mobilization would not have been necessary if the situation truly had remained peaceful. And these more quotes here, and of course it's Nicole Wallace and Chris Hayes, who are two of the worst. Nicole Wallace may actually be in the running for the worst, but she said Donald Trump referred to those peaceful protesters exercising their First Amendment rights as insurrectionists, and that was on Wednesday, June 11th. And then Chris Hayes said Donald Trump can try to turn the military into a partisan tool, mobilizing the National Guard and even the Marines against peaceful protesters. And that was on June 11th as well. So same day. By Monday, June 9th, these networks had fully adopted a strategy of downplaying any of the violence that occurred by reminding viewers that the majority of the protesters had been peaceful. As any discussion of violence was wrapped in repeated reminders that the majority of the attendees were not currently destroying anything. And then for the study, it says here that it says we included any assertion by a host, nonpartisan guest, or reporter that the riots or protests in Los Angeles were peaceful, mostly peaceful, largely peaceful, or any other similar descriptor, as long as the assertion occurred during a segment in which violence either had been acknowledged or was shown on screen. So there is their parameters for that. So that's the end of the article. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty nuts when it's like they're telling you to ignore the evidence of your eyes and ears and telling you that you're not actually seeing what you're seeing, and they try to chalk it up to it's just a few people. It's like it's like hundreds of people doing this stuff. It's not like one or two or the lone wolves like they say. It's a lot of them. Okay, and they kind of want to do this stuff too. So there you go. So what do you think about this? It's just more back to 2020, and the networks think they can just treat things the same way they did before, and we're all just going to go ahead and believe them. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.